welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Ron Love. Hey, the General is not with us tonight. The General is on special assignment, and I know he's going to be victorious on that special assignment. But we got, none other than Doc Polite stepping into the co-host chair tonight. And Doc, how you doing this evening?
Man, I feel good. Y'all starting to let me run wild, man.
Hey, man, look.
Hey, y'all let me run wild now.
People get to see who makes us look good.
I'll be in the doghouse next month.
No, brother. Hey, so Doc, man, we're into, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to our listening audience. But Doc, man, we're in 2026, man. Anything special? Do you make those resolutions and that kind of stuff that I don't make?
You know what? I don't, but I tell you this. This is I'm praying my breakthrough year. You know, my company develops apps and stuff, among other things. Mm-hmm. So I've got about 6 of them lined up, and I'm beta testing all of them right now. And I'm trying to get myself some investors. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for that. It's to be very, very lucrative.
Well, Doc, you speaking on the terms of that passive income. So one of your apps, and it's one of the ones that has become very popular very quick, and that's the one dealing with photography.
Yeah. And so we have a couple of meetings lined up with some people in, believe it or not, the funeral home business.
Okay.
Because that's something that memorialized that final gathering for a lot of families. You know, whether we like it or not, funerals have become quasi family reunions in a way.
Yeah.
You know, where we're not doing those family reunions, but somebody, when me mom passed or Big Mama passed, we all, you know, that's when we come together. We want to capture those memories, even at that sad moment. You know, maybe that's the last time we see Uncle Junior. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Doc, let me say this, and I don't do this better than the General does it. But for those of you who are tuned in, you're tuned in to Let's Talk Nation tonight. And one of the things that is definitely bound to happen is that your IQ is definitely going to go up. We don't know how many points, but it's definitely going to go up. You're tuned in. You got Doc Polite sitting in the co-host chair tonight, and Doc talking about he going to get in trouble. Doc ain't going to get in any trouble. He just going to help that wisdom increase. And also, Doc, we talk about your apps, the passive income. But I will say this to you, Doc, and I'm going to liken it to Shark Tank. If I had to say, based on the applications that you're developing, and this is not to diminish the value of the other applications by any means, the one that I see sticking out the most, the one that I think has the potential to become immediately more lucrative is that photography app that you have that people can scan the QR code. If you're going to a wedding, if you're going to a family reunion, if you're going to the classic, everybody scans that QR code with their phone. You could be at the tailgate and people up in the clubhouse at the doggone classic game.
Yeah.
We're getting pictures from everywhere.
And you know, that was one of our testing platforms too. I had some people at the classic test it out and they love it. And so, you know, we've ran it at some events and stuff and given people free access to it. We still have some free access. So if anybody out there in the audience wanna test it out, hit me up on Facebook.
And
on Facebook.
And Doc, they can hit you on Facebook, but also if anybody out there want to get a free beta application of Doc's photography, if you got a family reunion coming up, and Doc, I mean, you just said it. If there's a funeral, coming up, and you want to. That's a new one, Doc, that you just told me about, because I didn't think about that. But any type of function, event that you have coming up, I think you're going to see the value of this app. If you want to call in, Doc is going to give up that free beta check or use. That phone number is 407-921-6195. Doc, I'm gonna take my hat off to you because I think that thing is gonna go a long way.
And you know what? I'm not doing this in a selfish way, because my heart is to really help Black people to learn how to build these apps. That I mean, it's an economic path that if we don't jump on it, we're gonna lose out.
Hey,
And
Doc,
you know,
Doc, that old saying about iron sharpens iron, right?
yeah,
I'm gonna throw this, and I want you to take it in the love that I'm throwing it to you. Okay?
mm-hmm,
Hey, man, I will tell you right now. When I'm looking at products and services,
yeah,
I would applaud if there's somebody that looks like me that can provide that service. I'd applaud it. But at the end of the day, if I'm getting the top quality value from the product and service, so I want to just open it up a lot wider for you. That this is for anybody and everybody. That
oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I get you, because I'm there with you. You know, I teach it to everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm emphasizing that because we got a lot of kids of color who don't get the opportunity to see somebody like me who is coding and building these apps. So I don't want to dismiss. You know me, Rod. I'm for everybody. You know, everybody can win. I don't.
Technology is driving the future.
Yeah. So it doesn't. I don't care if you're Black, white, Puerto Rican, everybody. I mean, if you're interested in this, hit me up. I'm not just saying that. I'm sorry if it came across that way, because let
everybody know how they can reach you.
You can hit me up on Facebook, Vincent Terrell Polite. Just look me up, and you can also reach me at my company website, which is ATLV Solutions. I need to put that up there.
Okay.
And leave me a message there. And what was that?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and you can contact me through my contact form on my website. It's atlvsolutions.com. Let me make a banner, Rob.
All right, well, Doc, go ahead and put that up. Hey, but for those of you, we're not going to ignore some of the latest events that have unfolded in front of us. And one of the things I'm going to just I'm gonna just go ahead and hit it. The United States forces conducted a nighttime operation in Caracas, Venezuela, that resulted in the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro and his wife being taken into custody in the United States custody and flown to the United States, where a federal indictment was unsealed. According to reports and official statements, the mission involved months of preparation and coordination across agencies, and used a mix of air assets and special operation elements to reach Maduro's compound and exit within a short period of time. Federal prosecutors have charged Maduro in the United States with drug trafficking and related offenses. Those charges and court filings are not a primary legal matter, in this situation. There were also reports of explosions and strikes in Caracas during the operation, and immediate diplomatic and financial reactions from other countries and institutions. So this is happening, and I think, and Doc, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time we saw something of this nature was Panamanian
Noriega.
So,
and
there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be coming.
I'm gonna give you a history lesson. There is a principle called the Monroe Doctrine. Have you ever heard of it?
Doc, was this something that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago?
I think we did bring it up.
And is it like an article? Is it Article 5 or Article 1 or something?
No, it's not. It's not an article. It was a declaration expressed by President Monroe, and it was that no other powers, European powers, were to interfere or try to annex any country in the Western Hemisphere, in the Americas. That it was off limits for them for, exploration and all of that stuff, and that the United States, in essence, would see it as a form of aggression, and they would respond accordingly. And so this is a continuation of that. Now, yeah, Brother Bynes, I am using AI, but I do write code. I write in HTML and some.
Hey, Doc, you just talking. What about the listening audience that don't see Mr. John Bird's comment here, and he wanted to know?
Hey, I'm just asking because I gotta pay attention to the long time people. So that I just kind of
he asked the question: are you coding in AI? And John is somebody who is I know I'm familiar with his company and the aggression. I don't know if I call it aggression management, but he's on the forefront, man, of looking at how do you predict certain behaviors.
I think it's predictive analysis, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't know if John uses,
Brother Bynes.
Yeah, I don't know if he uses AI technology with the development. John, you can speak to this, man. If you want to make a quick call in and be real succinct on this, you're more than welcome to, because I don't want to botch what your company does. But Doc, and I know we got off script a little bit here, but technology is where it's at. If you're so far removed from it, it's almost like when computers came out. For those who were afraid of it, they've been left behind. So you got to jump on and move forward.
Yeah, but back to the Monroe Doctrine. You can question what the United States have done. I won't say President Trump. I say the United States, because that's the way that we are presenting it to the world. That we have seen that China and Russia have made an effort to expand into our.
John, hold 1 second. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, finish, Doc.
And so we've seen that with Cuba. We've seen it with South America. We're not acting in a vacuum. There's a cause and effect. Okay. And so that was the one thing that U.S. intelligence has been dealing with the fact that here is Venezuela that's already kind of a rogue leadership, and they are increasingly inviting others, European powers, into our hemisphere. You get it?
Yeah.
And
I get where you're going, Doc. And here's something that I'd be remiss if I didn't say, and you and I, we talked about it off air, but the way that the United States military conducted this operation, man, it was, from those of us on the outside, it was flawless. And man, you got to commend the leadership, the technology, and just the way it was done, to where it wasn't reported that there was any loss of life of American.
No.
Man. So got to take my hat off to that, man.
And listen, it's getting scary how well the United States can execute now.
Well, it's showing everybody. Hey, it's showing the world that the United States can execute.
Well, and I'm telling you, as a former soldier that understands the basics of battlefield preparation, I can tell you that, number one, they've extended the force multiplier standard to way out there.
Well, Doc, the way that was pulled off, again, man, can't say anything other than, and I'm gonna just say it. This is not being partisan whatsoever, but congratulations, man, to where we didn't hear any loss of life of American soldiers. What we saw, man, was the United States utilize, man, everything within its toolkit and accomplish its mission. So, John, in terms of talking about accomplishing missions, and I didn't want to butcher your business and how you conduct your business. John, you were asking Doc about if he utilizes AI. Tell us about, or tell our audience, man, about what you do.
Well, thank you very much, Ron and Doc. I appreciate that very much. we discovered how to measure human emerging aggression. And we got it scientifically validated as reliable about 10 years ago at Eastern Kentucky University. And then we built the app and the dashboard and the learning management system, the online training, so that we can provide these skills in a scalable way for organizations that are either large in one area or they're spread all over the world. So yes, we do use AI, but it's interesting because, as I'm sure Doc will attest, this whole concept of AI and its emergence is causing us, those people that are coders, people in the advertising business, and they're all sort of saying, well, we're going to be impacted, so maybe, just maybe, we should become experts ourselves in this information. And so I put myself through, I had a friend who is a Harvard graduate, both from the law school and business school, and he was telling me about this 8-piece course put on by Harvard's business school that you get certificates for, and those are important also because they demonstrate you have that knowledge. So I went through all of these 8 courses put on by Harvard's business school. Actually, it's the Digital Data Design Institute within the school, but and it was transformative in the way you learn and understand AI and its applications. And I think, again, I believe that Doc will probably affirm this. You've really got to become those people that are scared or concerned about what AI is going to do. It's never meant to replace anybody. That's one of the first things you learn. It's meant to augment you. So if you're a coder, it's not meant to replace you. It's meant to enhance what you're doing in that industry. Same thing for the advertising business, and it's transformed or in the process of transforming my business. So AI is becoming, for your audience to understand that AI is not something to be afraid of. AI is something to learn because it is our future. And if you don't want to be made redundant, then you need to become knowledgeable about this, at least on a surface-like level, to learn how to be effective, just like when we learned about Microsoft and Word and Excel and the other aspects that help you do your business.
Hey, John, let me ask this, man, and let me pull this out of you. As it relates to your primary targeted customers, who might that be?
Thank you for asking. Hospitals are, there are more non-fatal assaults in hospitals and healthcare than any other industry. So clearly, but all corporations that have 50 employees or more all have a need. Actually, are out there crying for this because what are we doing? We're preventing these things. When you think about, as a basic foundational tool, conflict resolution, and people tend to think that conflict resolution is designed to prevent escalation and violence. To a degree, that's correct. But doesn't conflict resolution presuppose conflict? You're already reacting to conflict. You're not preventing it. You're already at risk. You already have a victim. Our system enables you to identify the pre-incident precursors to conflict, as well as sexual harassment, abuse, bullying, discrimination, and or assault and violent behavior. So it actually enables us to get out in front and prevent these maladaptive behaviors, these expensive things for both human cost and financial cost to employers across the country.
John, I apologize in advance for my rapid fire, because I got this attention deficit this sort of sometimes. But let me ask you this question, John, because I'm familiar, Greg familiar, Doc is familiar with you in terms of what you've been doing and how talented you are. But I think it's important for the audience to also know when you mentioned 50 or more employees, speak briefly, if you would, to the fact about how effective what you do or bring to the table is with educational institutions of schools.
Yes.
Go ahead, John.
Yes. I mean, we hear about the word bullying, and it's pervasive in our schools, across our schools. But doesn't bullying represent someone exhibiting bullying behavior? You're reacting to someone who's already bullying. You already have a victim. You already have a perpetrator. Both people will be injured in their future life by virtue of this experience. So if we could teach you how to identify the precursors to bullying so that you could engage and actually prevent this kind of behavior, wouldn't that be a better solution to prevent it?
It definitely would. It definitely would. And John, I like I said, this is rapid fire. I got to throw something else at you.
Sure, absolutely.
There was a point in time, and Doc, you're familiar with this, when we were looking at tragedies within institutional of faith organizations, and
Yes.
how law enforcement stepped in and they started assisting with, I guess, surveying for faith institutions, how they could better protect themselves. John, can you speak to that as it relates to services you provide?
Oh, absolutely. Understand, law enforcement do an excellent job, but what do? They're responding to incidents. Wouldn't it be better to identify these precursors and get out in front and actually prevent them from occurring as opposed to reacting? Because once again, we go back to that world where there's a victim and a perpetrator. If we were able to identify the precursors to the pre-incident precursors that enable us, and these are behavioral things. We don't use culture, gender, education, age, sexual orientation, or religion. So we don't violate the granddad of them all, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, but we also don't use mental health assessments, so we don't violate HIPAA in our hospitals, healthcare, social services, and we don't violate the FERPA in our school campuses. So we're able to record and track, thereby manage and prevent without violating any of these landmines, the ability to engage in and report and demonstrate using evidence-based best practice.
Hey, Doc, as you can see,
He talking our language.
yeah, he's talking our language, but as you can see, we talk about and try to train young people on that elevator speech when you only got a couple of minutes to sell yourself. John has it down back. But here's something else. And John, if you would, I want to keep you on for a few more minutes. Hey, Doc.
Sure.
I'm gonna open this up and then we can circle back to John to participate in this discussion. And what I'm gonna bring up right now is John has just discerned the difference between being reactive and proactive.
Yeah.
Here's my question and challenge to you and John. And Doc, I'm gonna let you go first and then we'll have John come back. But my question is, do decision makers really see the return on investment of being proactive versus being reactive?
Well, I'll tell you this. When you think about it in terms of resources, man hours, manpower, and overall environment that you create in a workplace, I would say yes, because you are eliminating things that interfere directly with productivity. And think about someone going through a crisis, already in crisis, cannot function as well. Okay. They're not going to get the best from that employee if they're dealing with homelessness and hunger and things like that. In the same way as this, if I feel threatened at work, I'm not going to be productive. If I got conflict with somebody, I'm not going to be as productive as me having the tools to go through that.
Okay, Doc, I appreciate that. So, John, I want you to be real succinct and respond to the same question.
Sure. Obviously, there is a cost. Any from the point of conflict up through. I mean, I'm talking about destructive conflict, right up through sexual harassment, abuse, bullying, discrimination. All of these elements have a direct and corresponding effect on productivity and thus profitability. If we're able to get out in front and demonstrate that we're doing that, then that is a significant advantage to both the employer and the employees, because there's that human cost that we're saving. Incidentally, it also enhances trust among people when you're able to address things, because at this lower level on our continuum, you still have cooperation. Because our system is not punitive. The systems that react are punitive. They're designed to identify an offender and punish that offender. So who is that person going to look after the moment they get punished? They're going to look for the person who turned them in. This is why see something, say something isn't working. And our system is rehabilitative. We engage early on where there is still cooperation, there is still trust, and we're able to enhance it and enhance trust at the same time. So we're actually aiding the organizations to be more productive and therefore more profitable.
Hey, John, man, I tell you, nobody does it like you. John, if you would, let everybody know how they can get a hold of your organization and go ahead and lay it out there, man.
Oh, thank you. You go to the website, it's Aggression Management. It's very simple, aggressionmanagement.com. You put that in, it gives you everything you ever wanted to know about me, my organization, our client list, which is vast. But also right at the very top, it has my telephone number and it has my email address. So you can reach out to me that way as well.
Hey, John, is that Aggression Management spelled out?
Aggressionmanagement.com.
Okay, Doc, if we can go ahead and add that to the scroll, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Hey, John, go ahead, John.
Before I jump off, I wanted to address this whole thing that you were just talking about as well. What's just happened in Venezuela, and the brilliance of what's occurred, because yes, we didn't get into the same quagmire we did in Iraq, because we're actually using the current group, and that could go terribly wrong. But if it goes right, and they're afraid that we're going to swoop in and get them, so they're using fear as what's driving them. And if we can get this to turn back around and actually get them to motivate and make this country, because yes, if people are saying, well, we're talking about walking and chewing gum at the same time. Of course we can. We can handle this. We can move that country towards more of a democracy, And when that elections are taken, we probably have a good idea who's going to wind up being the next president. But the people that are there are recognizing that Maduro himself was given an option. He was given an option to leave early, and do so, he'd be sitting on the high cotton right now. But they didn't choose to do that. They choose to play games. So they're not going to play games, I think. And in doing so, I believe they're going to be able to manage this. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. But look what's going around on in the macro level. We see Cuba, we see Colombia. I actually heard, and I haven't reaffirmed this yet, but the Ayatollah Khomeini said that if this gets any worse, as far as all of these rioting is concerned, that he may have to leave the country. So the impact of what's happening here that is impacting the rest of these evil, bad people across the country, and this is all done in this brilliant way of managing economics of the world and managing power of the world, and doing it all in a measured way. I'm very impressed.
Well, hey, brother John, I got to tell you, man, appreciate your insight. And, I just think that we all need to sit back and watch what's taking place. But, I'm more of an empirical person. I like to see that empirical data. A lot of this has been discussions and talks about the flow of drugs and things of that nature. Now, I'm really looking to see if we're going to have a response to the fentanyl issue nationally, if we're going to have a response to cocaine and other issues. So, John, I'm with you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how this really, the outcome of this, but also is it going to have a rippling effect across the world?
It's always a pleasure, Rod and Doc, and I think that we're all going to be observers here. But I think he's got an incredible team, And I think that incredible team can navigate these waters very well. And we may see evil industries, evil countries, leaders dropping like flies around the world. And that would be a good thing by any standard.
And John, Florida has a connection to one of the individuals that's playing, and I know it's many, but that's playing an instrumental role in this. And Florida's connection is, and I'm proud to, say from, my former connection when he was the Speaker of the House, and I'm talking about none other than former United States Senator Marco Rubio, who is now Secretary of State. So
absolutely,
we have some rules.
And Trump, you said he's one of the best secretaries of state that he's in his lifetime.
And I would have to agree. I'd have to agree. Hey, Brother Burns, you're always welcome, man. You're always welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Rod.
All right.
Good to chat with you.
All right, man. You take care of yourself.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye. And Doc, one of the things that I forgot to ask Brother Burns to do for us, which I'm going to be asking our entire audience, and it's going to be a conversation that we're going to have at a later date. But when we talk about, being proactive and reactive, it's one of those things that I say, okay, you tell me what you value, and then show me your budget, and I'll subsequently tell you what you actually value. I know we're living in the times of limited resources and things of that nature, but be careful when you tell people that you value being proactive versus being reactive, because all it takes is to look at your budget, and then it'll really disclose what your priorities are.
Yeah, you put your money where your heart is.
You're right. Hey, but the thing I was mentioning that I forgot to say to the Brother Burns, and I want to say this to our Let's Talk Nation audience. I would ask, and I see you have Brother Burns' website going across the bottom of the screen, and we're gonna probably be switching out a few things before this show is over with. But Doc, we were having a discussion about a short film that I think everybody. I see Bishop Stubbs tuning in too, Doc. But I think one of the things I'm going to ask anybody who has access to Netflix to do is to go watch a 30-minute short film. And we want to talk about this probably next Monday, and if not next Monday, the Monday after that. But this short film is called Two Distant Strangers. This film was produced back in 2020. It's an Oscar-winning short film, and the producers are Lawrence Bender, Chris Vettenwiller, and Jesse Williams. And it has some other executive producers. And Doc, when you talk about executive producers, you're predominantly talking about some folk who probably came to the table to help finance this movie, right?
Yeah, you know I'm laughing because I don't want to get credit.
All right, Doc, I'm gonna let you do this so I don't have to do it.
No, I don't want to get.
So okay,
I don't even want to say his name.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it is what it
is. And it's not that what they say. A stop clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. And I mean, we can't be historical revisionists either, Doc. What we're talking about here is one of the executive producers of this short film happened to be P. Diddy. And I mean, it's P. Diddy with probably about 7 other individuals. He's one of the notable celebrities that, gets credits for executive production of this. But also you have Kevin Durant, who is a NBA player. And then what was the other guy's name, Doc?
Van Lathan.
And his famous daughter is who?
Sanaa Lathan.
And what?
Well, he's famous too now. He does a lot of the produces a lot of these comedy specials. He's worked with Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock.
See, I didn't know that, but I recognize
Steve Harvey. Cedric the Entertainment.
But I recognize who you say his famous daughter was more than, and no disrespect to him, but his famous daughter is who?
Sanaa Lathan.
And what was the movie that really, helped her take off?
Love and Basketball.
And that was that
That was with Omar Epps.
Omar Epps, okay.
Yeah.
But the short movie that we want everybody to go take a look at so that we can talk about it at a later date is Two Distant Strangers. Not going to give anything away on this show, but what I will do is let you know through my small network, we've been putting out some information so that we can get some feedback, and we put 4 specific questions out there. Doc, you got those. If you read the questions, I want to read the reply of a 30-year-old African-American who is in the healthcare technology field. I want to give his responses to the 4 questions about this short film. And so, Doc, let me know.
Y'all see what Rod does? You see, he always tell y'all about what I do, but see, he got the whole team doing homework. And so the first question he wanted to ask was, what line or moment hit you hardest, why, and express your feelings and thoughts.
Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you the response from this 30-year-old healthcare technology professional. And repeat that question again, Doc, so that everybody can put this together.
What line or moment hit you hardest and why? Feelings and thoughts.
Okay, this person's response was the part where the police took Joey home and changed his mind hit me the hardest. It made me understand no matter how well-mannered, respectful you are to certain people, you'll always be recognized based on your color and be recognized as a threat. That is one of the things that, and everybody, there's no bad or negative or wrong response. This is just how people feel when they watch this film. So, Doc, what was the second question?
The second question is, how does the film use repetition to reframe our understanding of routine police encounters?
And the response, again, from this 30-year-old was, the scary thing about it is I feel as if repetition pushes people like us not to trust law enforcement officers, to fear the police when the police have stopped them. And they gave the example about the situation that took place in Jacksonville, and we did a show on that as well. But again, this 30-year-old professional said the scary thing to them was about how they felt the repetition pushes people not to trust law enforcement and to fear the police when they're stopped. That is something, man, that we've had discussions time and time again. Doc, the third question.
Which policies, training practices, or workplace procedures does this short video make you rethink? Be specific.
Okay, again, to the third question, this 30-year-old said, I don't know too many policies, but I'll say that understanding who an officer is before you allow him or her to patrol anywhere is key. And Dr. Nelson, a couple of shows back, he talked about the Law Enforcement Police Training Academy and about how they're receiving training in that sterile environment, but also you have some law enforcement agencies that also take those recruits out of the community so that they can become familiar with the people that they're going to be serving. But the end part of that question is, the officer in the film became an officer because he was bullied. So he became a threat for those that he came in contact with because he considered bullying those good people. That's that person's perception about what they saw in that short film. And Doc, last but not least, the fourth question.
Where were there moments you felt defensive or uncomfortable?
And the response, and this is the last response, again, from a 30-year-old health technology professional, was that he felt uncomfortable because he felt as if not all officers were not what was portrayed in that short film. And also he felt uncomfortable because even though all the officers in that film didn't exhibit those same characteristics, this 30-year-old still felt that he could have been a victim of their actions. So you got to go watch this short film. Again, it's on Netflix. It's called Two Distant Strangers. And I think, I really believe, I don't like to use the word think. I really believe that this is a teachable moment for communities. I think it's a teachable moment with partnerships with law enforcement. And I just think we miss a lot of opportunities. Like John said earlier, we got to get on the side of being more proactive than reactive. And I think this is an opportunity for leadership in law enforcement. And there's a lot of law enforcement leadership that's already doing things that exhibit communities looking at these leaders and saying, I know every day is not going to be a sunshiny day, but when those days that come that it rains, at least I have a relationship. There is some trust that's being built between law enforcement and those communities. Again, Doc, you saw this film. What was your thoughts on this thing?
You know, the thing that I remember, because I watched it a while ago, and what most stood out to me was the fact that our perceptions really do inform our realities.
Yeah.
And we bring all of that into these kind of situations. It's like, you know, like I was explaining to you, I could see myself reacting that way when I was the age, but something that made me change was the fact that I began to stand on my humanity. I was a human, and I had a right as a human to be treated a certain way. It had nothing to do with skin colors. And I refused to let people not treat me as human because I was going to give them the courtesy of being human.
Well, Doc, but one of the examples that I have to bring up, and you're familiar with it, Dr. Nelson, the principal of 21st Century Research and Evaluation, he had been traveling around the state of Florida doing it with faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, with the mobile law enforcement simulator. And that's the simulator. People don't like to refer to it as shoot or don't shoot, but it's the simulator where you put a holster on age-appropriate young people, and you also put it on regular, everyday adults. Let them go through the process of what law enforcement goes through in crisis situations. And one of the things that you see is because those individuals put themselves in the shoes of law enforcement, they kind of get it then. But then the other thing that Dr. Nelson does, he actually has law enforcement put themselves in the shoes of those community stakeholders. So you get to see both sides.
You know, Rod, I listen at night, late night sometimes. I'm laying in bed and I'll put my earphones on and I'll listen to like these true crime stories. It's fascinating. You know, I'm into human behavior. And one of the things that I come to understand is that law enforcement has a terrible job.
It's tough. It's tough.
I would not want that job. I'm just being very honest and open and transparent, because here it is. You're walking into situations every day where you don't have control of it, and you are often encountering people in their worst moment on the worst day of their life, probably. And so anything can happen, you know, and we often don't think of that. You know, the police don't know that you the reverend at the church.
I know exactly where you're going. You're absolutely correct. But here's the thing that I think we can all agree on. And you know, and I'm going to mention some of those law enforcement leaders out there, whether you've had a good experience or a bad experience with their agency, to me matters not, because we've seen the leadership, the proof is in the pudding. My heart goes out to folk who, like you say, Doc, that one day of their life, they had that bad experience. Some, unfortunately, tragic situations of which, man, I got to say, we got to hold law enforcement accountable for those days as well. But man, you know,
yeah,
Sheriff,
but we can't let the bad moments become the litmus test of how we measure.
You're right.
Because that's the problem. We are sensationalizing the bad apples. Yeah, it's bad apples in everything. I don't care what you do or where you are. There are bad actors everywhere in every profession all the time. Now, the difference is the degree in which life can be taken.
Yeah.
And that is what I think delineates it for most people. They look at that fact. And then we have to look at the perception of over policing. I think that plays more into.
Doc, I gotta ask you, because I think we have a difference of opinion on this one, and that's all right. But what's your thought about over policing?
Well, I think I'll tell you this. When I was in high school.
Come on, bring it, brother. Bring it.
When I was in high school, I used to sell weed, right? So it was, if you got caught at school with weed, and yeah, I did sell it on the campus and stuff, it was always the black kids that got searched. But you know who my biggest customers were? The white kids.
What?
And they very rarely got searched. So we were in that concept. That's you're looking for the crime, but you're looking at certain people as more predisposed to engage in certain behavior. Okay. So you pay more attention to them, and that's the essence of what over policing is.
And so, Doc, here's I guess where I may vary a little bit, because what I heard you describe to me is bias. And I don't disagree with you when we're talking about bias. When I think about over policing, here's one of the things that comes to my mind quickly, and that is, when folk look in communities and they say, man, we just got so many police that are patrolling our communities, but then you talk to some of those residents in those communities and they welcome that representation of law enforcement. And Doc, I will say this, man, just simply put, if you were to look at who do you think call law enforcement calls for service more often than not?
People in underprivileged or lower income neighborhoods.
You've been listening to Dr. Nelson a lot. You've been listening to Dr. Nelson a lot.
No, because remember my background and what I told you. You deal with people who cannot manage their lives.
Yeah.
And so when you think about it, that's why police are there to do what? Control situations, life management, circumstance management. See, we've made policemen, we've turned them into referees with a gun.
And Doc, you and I, we've talked about this before, and I've mentioned the former police chief of was it Dallas, Texas, that during his eulogy, he said to the individuals that were there when he was eulogizing two of his officers, he said law enforcement is expected to do too much. If there's an abundance of stray dogs in the community, you call law enforcement before you call animal control. When you look at the fact, and I gotta say, Florida has, in my opinion, been doing a better job of looking at how do you respond to mental health issues versus, law enforcement showing. I mean, you need law enforcement, but you see Orlando Police Department, Orange County Sheriff's Office, you see Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Volusia, that have engaged in partnering with mental health organizations so that those calls for service that they're going to, that they know it's a situation of mental health crisis. Those officers, I mean, while they get a great deal of training, they're not mental health therapists.
Yeah. Hey, to change the topic a little bit, did you see that the officer, remember a couple of years back, we had an officer in Orlando who arrested 2 6-year-olds at that school?
I remember, yeah.
Well, he was shot and killed by a family member this past weekend.
Well, I did see that. That was Orlando Police. He had retired too, right?
Yeah, he had retired. He retired back in 2019, and he was killed by a family member. I don't know
and our condolences go out to
Yeah.
to his family and friends as well. But I did see that, Doc.
and I was like, that's beyond. I don't know. I don't even know how to frame it because I thought about all the years he served.
Yeah,
Served
yeah.
23 years.
He served 23 years.
Yeah, and to lose his life in an argument with a family member is, it's tragic.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're right.
we never know our circumstances, man.
And Doc, I'm glad you know. I mean, it's a tragic and sad situation, but that helps bring up the fact that and I know he was retired, but the other thing I think community stakeholders, it's a two-way street. But I think the other thing that would help people is when you realize, because my siblings, my younger brother and sister, they're in law enforcement. And when I look at them, yeah, I know they're in law enforcement, but I also know that's my sister. That's my brother. They have children. So those men and women that are in uniform, there's somebody wife, somebody husband, somebody, they got children. So it's a two-way street. I do believe law enforcement, with what Dr. Nelson, with his trainings around the country, that when they put themselves in that community stakeholder in those shoes, they learn some things, but also when those community stakeholders put themselves in the shoes of law enforcement, they learn something as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey Doc, we
didn't touch on go ahead.
Well, since this is going to be a real rapid fire because and I know you're about to say about touching on Black Monday. And I had an issue with the title Black Monday. Doc, why don't you tell people what Black Monday is? NFL head coach shakeups. This is the time when
they fire right after the last games of the season, regular season. They start firing coaches and staffs and GMs and everything. It's clean. It's clean house.
Perspective, because I say, Doc, why negativity got to be black? And then you brought up Black Fridays.
And it's not always black gold is oil. Black Friday has to do with retailers often go into the black on that Friday following Thanksgiving when they've been in the red all year. So they make up that deficit on that Friday. So that's how we got back.
I'm gonna roll out the Black Monday NFL shakeup. Today was the big reset in the NFL. Several franchises pulled, and I hate to use the vernacular, pull the trigger on head coaches. I hate to use that vernacular, but y'all set me up for that, so I'm gonna go with it. But major firings. Kevin Stefanski with the Cleveland Browns.
I don't like nobody losing their job, but he needed to go.
So Cleveland Browns looking for a new head coach. Pete Carroll with the Raiders. And Pete Carroll was famous. He was the coach with the Seattle Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
He lost his job.
And I don't know. I don't know. I didn't follow his tenure there. How long had he been with the Raiders?
I don't know, but you know what? He's more famous. What'd you say, Mondo? 1 year. Oh, so man.
So they didn't even give him a chance to change the culture.
But that's guaranteed money though, right?
Yeah.
Hey, but most people when they think about the Raiders right now, they immediately think about Tom Brady because he has ownership in the Raiders now. So, hey, but let me finish. Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals also was on the chopping block today, and it looks like Atlanta also moved on from Raheem Morris. So those were the shakeups today. But then you also got the college playoffs that's taking place, Doc.
Oh yeah, and boy, the U from down there in the U.
Hey, so I
U showed out, didn't he?
The U showed out, but do you or Mondo know who the 4 teams that's going to be playing coming up this week?
Ole Miss and Miami play, and I forgot the other two.
Mondo give it to us. Hey, but Doc, while you're talking about Ole Miss, it's real interesting that Lane Kiffin, who left Ole Miss underneath this cloud, but come on, man, let's be truthful about it. The amount of money that LSU is giving this guy, we all would have left Ole Miss. Come on now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the way that he moved, I think, that keeps this villainous cloud around him. But at the end of the day, man, come on, let's be truthful.
Well, you know, a lot of you remember the old school coaches like Madden and all of them guys.
They didn't have that. They weren't coaching for this amount of money though back then.
Yeah, I know, but they kind of moved the way that Lane Kiffin does. He got that football mind and stuff, and you know,
none of those guys was a villain like this guy's painted a villain, man. And he's only painted that way. I don't know if he does a little bit of this to himself, Doc, if it's just, hey, the villain is getting paid in all of this. But Doc, you were right. I mean, Ole Miss and the U, but then we also have Indiana versus Oregon. And Indiana did a job on Ohio State. They beat them down. So I gotta say, and I'm not gonna disguise this, I'm happy that Ole Miss, because it's almost like a fairy tale ending with what they've gone through, that they're getting, putting themselves in position to get to the big show. But I gotta go with the U.
Yeah. And they had Miami as a 9.5 underdog against Ohio.
Hey, they played that night, and I tell you, those defensive ends, what they call edge rushers,
yeah,
those boys played. They
played. It was like, man, it gave me flashbacks back to the 80s.
Oh, when Michael Irvin and those boys played.
Yeah, man, because they was moving. That speed, and remember that you say that speed kills. Miami speed kills.
And they just couldn't. They had nothing. I mean, Ohio State had no response to them. And keep in mind, my old college coach, who I still love today, and that's Jim Tressel. He was coach at Ohio State. Took him to maybe 2 championships. I know he took him to one of them. So, I've been somewhat partial to Ohio State, but when you go up against the U, I got to go with the U every day.
But you know what trend that I have seen, and it's always fascinated me, is how skinny football players have become.
What you mean skinny? These boys, shoot, you get 6'4".
Man, you look at that most teams secondary. Them some skinny little dudes.
Oh, hey, and Doc,
secondary and stuff. The only place you have it now is really the interior lines.
Well, them DBs got to keep that.
Everybody else skinny.
The receivers are balling, but you are right, man. I think those DBs are much smaller than they used to be. But also, when I was watching those games, Doc, I don't know how the ref or the teams are allowing these guys to play with no protection covering their knees now. Did you see?
Yeah.
They don't have knee pads covering their knees anymore.
Yeah, that's been the norm for quite a few years now.
Hey, I know it's been some years since I played, but I didn't play in the era where we had leather helmets. Hey, Doc. Hey, man, I'm going to have to let you go, brother. I enjoyed co-hosting this show with you, man. And, Doc, you bring it, man. I appreciate you. The General, once again, was out on special assignment tonight, and we look forward to seeing the General next week. But, hey, to all of you who tuned in, we appreciate your support. I think we're in our 8th year, Doc.
Yeah.
So, once again, we appreciate your support. Mondo, you've been a day one rider, so man, we appreciate you as well. And Doc, like I said, you make us all look good, man. So
yeah, we done turned Mondo into a brainiac.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you ain't lying. But hey, Doc, you don't have to go home.
but you got to get out of here.
Hey, tune in next week on Let's Talk Nation. Join us so that we can have some more fun and raise that IQ a little bit. We'll see you next week.